Throw hand!
Thank you guys. Hello everyone and welcome back to the corner. There's so much going on right now in the Transformers world. We've got the HasLab Victory Saber reaching its minimum requirements to be produced. We've got Studio Series 86 Wave 2 hitting the shelves and hitting people's collections. We've got the upcoming Kingdom items and Wave 5 and Wave 6 either being delivered or being announced. And at the same time, hidden in the background, we have a little bit of information filtering through about Transformers 7 Rise of the Beasts, the series of films that has been going on now for 14 years. But this is supposed to be a sequel to the very decent Bumblebee movie that we got 3 years ago or so, coming out next year. And this week we've had a little bit of news coming out about some of the cast in that film, and I'm talking about the Transformers cast. Who cares about the human characters? Let's be honest. We have seen some images of all of the vehicle forms that are going to be in the movie. Specifically, the Autobots with sort of 5 key components, very similar in guise, if you like, to the Transformers Prime cast. You got Prime himself and Bumblebee, and then you've got RC, and for some reason Mirage as a Porsche 911 and Wheeljack as some sort of camper van. Then on the con side, they've decided to go a different route. We don't have Decepticons, we've got Terracons, and we've only got 3 of those guys. Scourge as the black truck. The GTI is going to be Nightbird from Generation 1, hopefully, or possibly even a new character. And then we've got a little orange truck, which looks like a sort of tow truck. Not really sure what that character is. It looks really similar to the masked vehicle Wildcat, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case. I've heard rumors that it may not even have a character, which would just be a nightmare considering we've only got 3 Decepticon kind of characters as it is at the moment. No clue as to the Maximals and the Predacons, but I thought let's take a look at one of those characters that's been revealed and see a little bit more as to their history and to their character, what's going to happen with them in the movie. And it's Scourge. Now, we've just had the Studio Series 86 Scourge. Really great toy. If you haven't got it, they are coming back into distribution in several smaller retailers online available at the moment. And of course, we're going to get the Studio Series 86 Sweep coming out soon, which is virtually identical anyway. But Scourge is one of those interesting characters in Transformers where originally he was broadcast in the 1986 movie, as I'm sure we all remember, but what we probably don't remember so much is he didn't really say or do anything in the movie of any considerable note. In fact, I can't really remember him saying anything. All of his presence and all of his character was built through season 3 of the Generation 1 cartoon line, and at the end of that he went on into season 4, part of the Headmasters trilogy, getting a Target Master, and then obviously that was the end of the American version of Generation 1, and the Japanese continuity had him as part of the Headmasters line, although he took more of a backseat with Cyclonus in that series. Having said that, after Generation 1, we didn't see Scourge really again. We had a little presence of him in Beast Wars toy form and comic form, very tiny. And then all of a sudden, when Transformers was being rebooted by the Japanese in the ROD series in 2000 and 2001, we got this epic Decepticon clone of Optimus Prime, the first black Transformers Optimus Prime clone that we'd seen in sort of cartoons or media of this character, and it was named Scourge, and it was probably the most distinctive Scourge other than Generation 1 that we've ever had to date. And then, of course, we had the 2005 Cybertron Scourge, part of the Unicron trilogy series, and that figure and character had their own kind of character set. So Scourge is unique in the sense that he's had many, many different characters, totally different from one another, no sort of overlap, if you like, between the characters, no sort of reconcile of those characters. However, we've also had some great incarnations of Scourge in the comic books, especially with his time-traveling capability with Cyclonus and Galvatron, all the bits and pieces to do with Unicron and his reformatting from Thundercracker and so on and so forth. I quite liked Scourge's character in Generation 1 and RID. It was quite reminiscent of Starscream in many ways. You had this evil character who was scheming and actually wanted to rise up and actually take over power from Galvatron or Megatron or Galvatron in ROD, and he did it in such a manner in which, you know, he was doing his own things, plotting his own ways. However, at the end of the day, he was just then reformatted or put back in line by those above him. And in Generation 1 specifically, he got a lot of beating and hammering from both Galvatron and Cyclonus, which was quite funny.
Trap him in the corridor! Good plan, Cyclonus. We would be honored if you would lead the assault. You will lead the attack, coward!
One thing that was annoying was the fact that obviously you had all of the sweeps, which were just identical clones of Scourge in Generation 1, and that kind of took away from some of the characteristics that could be built. Although they were quite wimpy, and it was funny in that sense that they didn't want to do things like in Starscream's Ghost when they didn't want to go into the crypt.
You go down that shaft!
How come I gotta do the dirty work?
You see if the traitor is hiding down there!
No way! If you're so fired up to know what's going on, you go down there!
You lead!
I wouldn't want anyone thinking that I question you as a leader, but sorry. I question your leadership skills, Scourge.
But at the same time, I just feel like they could have done more with different characters in there rather than just a bunch of nameless clones, if you like, or giving them a little bit more differentiation as we were asking for with the toys. Hopefully in the upcoming movie, this new Scourge will be his own bot, but not just that, he'll bring his own influence into the way in which he does things and have those traits from Generation 1 and RID, and maybe even a little bit from Cybertron as well, because that Scourge was very strong. With only 3 Terracons so far, who knows, we might not actually get much from these guys, and maybe I'm expecting too much, you guys tell me, but hopefully we get a Scourge who's going to be a ruthless leader like we did in RID. He's going to be out for himself, a warlord, and he's going to come bring it to the Maximals and to the Autobots, because he's going to be outnumbered some sort of 9-1 at this stage, especially with no view on how many Predacons we're going to get. Based on how they did them in Kingdom Netflix series, there might only be 2 or 3 Predacons as well, so who knows. But yeah, I thought that he looks like a great menacing sort of truck. It's nice to see a new leader being put forward instead of your usual Megatron and Galvatron characters, and clearly there should be some sort of time travel element to these characters, with Scourge in there and Nightbird having the wrong sort of characteristics for the time that the film is being shot at, 1994 I believe. It should be an interesting scope. So what do you all think? Are you excited for Transformers Rise of the Beasts, or quietly optimistic, or just panning it already because it's another Bay-esque film? Hopefully it's something like Bumblebee, hopefully we get some character development in the Transformers, and hopefully there's not too much emphasis on the humans, at least for me anyway. Let us know what you guys think on the show, and look forward to seeing you again next week. Back to the studio.
Hey boys, we've been rumbled. Well, let's bounce.